Hi, we're moving on to multiplying by 10, 100, or 1,000, or multiples of tens, hundreds, or thousands. At the beginning of the year, we did the same thing by multiplying 10, hundreds, thousands. We were always multiplying it by a whole number, and some people would use the terminology add a zero, 2 zeros, or 3 zeros, and I would say, well, let's say it correctly in that we move everything a place value or 2 place values or 3 place values. So when we multiply 42 by 10, the 4 is in the tens place, so it moves to the hundreds because there's 1 0 and 10. So we get 420. When we multiply by 100, we get 4,200 because everything has moved 2 places. And then when we multiply 42 by 1,000, we get 42,000. And so it does look like you just add the number of zeros as there are in your multiple. But I want to think about that. So when we look at the similar example, instead of having 42, we have 4 2/10 times 10, 100, or 1,000. I want to think about that 4.2 times 10, and the 4.2 is bigger than 4 but less than 5. So when you multiply that by 10, it's going to be between 40 and 50. So I'm going to move the decimal point, and this 4.2 is equivalent to 4.2, as many zeros as you want, so it becomes 42. So the decimal point has moved 1 spot. Then when I multiply by 100, the decimal point is going to move 2 spots for the 2 zeros, so you have to add a 0 in, so you get 420. And then 4.2 times 1,000, it's going to move 3 spots. So we move it 1, 2, 3. So we get 4,200. And you can see my initial thinking of the estimation, 42 is between 40 and 50. And so my theory works. You never add any zeros between digits in your decimals. Okay, we're going to look at multiplying by multiples of 10, 100, or 1,000. The first example, we're going to multiply the decimal 4.2 times 30. And rather than doing stack math with the 30, I would prefer for you to look at it like 4.2 times, and I'm splitting that 30 into 3 times 10. The nice thing with order of operations is you can do your multiplying any way you want. So we can do 4.2 times 3. And then multiply by 10. Earlier this week, we looked at 4.2 times 3, and we get the decimal 12.6. Then it's times 10, and earlier in this lesson, we saw when we multiply by 10, we move everything over 1 decimal point. So your answer is going to be 126. Now on the next example, we're taking not quite as nice of a decimal, 3.168 times 400. And 400 is the multiple of 100, so it's 4 times 100. So we're going to look at 3.168 times 4 times 100. And so I'm going to go off to the side, and I'm going to look at 3.168 times 4. And I'm just going to do stack math, and I'm going to not think about the decimal at first. I'm going to do 4 times 8 is 32. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 3 is 27. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6, and 4 times 3 is 12. And then we put the decimal in 1, 2, 3 places over, so I get 12.672. So I now have 12.672, and that can replace the 3.168 times 4 times 100. And the 100 is going to ask me, really, to move the decimal 2 spots, so I get 1,267 and 2/10.